Welcome, everyone, or the few that are here, to the Thursday, November 2nd, 2023 Hillsborough Township Planning Board meeting. Please join me in a salute to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be advised this meeting has been duly advertised according to Section 5 of the Open Publics Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, otherwise known as Sunshine Law. Notice of the 2023 annual meeting schedule and minute meeting dates have been provided to the officially designated newspapers, the Township Clerk, posted on the Township website, and available here at the Hillsborough Township Municipal Complex. In addition, application documents have been made available on the Township Civic Clerk website, and complete applications are available in the Planning and Zoning Department for inspections in accordance with the public meeting notice. With that, may I have a roll call of board members and also board and township professionals, please.
Mr. Wagner.
Here.
Mr. Peason.
Here.
Mr. Delcor is
No.
not here. Mr. Scobo.
Here.
Ms. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Radowitz.
Here.
Committeeman Ciccarelli.
Here.
Mayor Lapani.
Here.
Vice Chair Julian.
Here.
Chair Sirachi.
Here.
Mr. Coyce.
Here.
Mr. Bernstein.
Here.
Mr. Mayhew.
Here.
And myself and the videographer are here.
Okay, welcome, everyone. So we do not have any meeting minutes nor resolutions for consideration. Also do not have any ordinances for consideration. We do have one planning board business item, resolution setting the 2024 meeting schedule. Mr. Coyce?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have the 2024 schedule proposed for the board's consideration. We have that all set up so that future applications can actually have dates associated with them. Any questions regarding the dates? We follow the general pattern of when the meetings are supposed to be, try to avoid any potential conflicts such as holidays and things like that.
I'd like to state for the record that I had nothing to do with the holiday conflict issue that you...
Okay. So other than the January 11th, this being the only meeting in January,
No, actually, we have a second meeting in January, I anticipate. That's correct.
well, I'm talking about regular meetings.
Yes, we only have one regular.
We're going to talk about
meeting.
regular meetings first. Typically, we're following the first and second Thursday of the month schedule, where we do have exceptions. This is July 4th holiday and October 3rd for Rosh Hashanah. And we do have business meetings scheduled typically the fourth Thursday of the month, except August, November, and December. There are no meetings. And also, I should just note that in August, there are no regular meetings. And we're looking to begin these meetings again at 7 o'clock. So, comments? Thoughts? Silence. Good, unanimous silence.
Sorry. I'm assuming the January 11th meeting with the asterisk is the reorg meeting?
Yes, I believe it was...
Now, the reorg,
The one at
Oh,
the
no,
bottom,
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
January 9, 2025.
I believe
So-
that was previously, correct me if I'm wrong, David, it was approved in the resolution that was adopted in January by the board, setting forth the 2023 meeting dates, including the January 9th, 2024 reorg. That's usually what we do. The rationale, folks, as you know, why we have this on tonight is because we are become very popular. And rather than having half of America here at reorg night wanting to know when they're being scheduled for their appointment, was to try to have this schedule put in effect prior to the reorg. So when either next week's application, if it doesn't finish, or we know the one in December is probably not going to finish, we can schedule meetings and not have large amounts of public members wanting to know when their applications are going to be heard. But correct me if I'm wrong, David, I believe the reason in answer to John's request is that we noticed it at the January reorg meeting for January 9th at 7,
Uh,
11th, pardon me.
Thank you. January 11th, 2024 at 7 o'clock is the reorg meeting, but the regular meeting occurring immediately as follows.
And that was the notice, that was the meeting schedule the board adopted at its reorg meeting in January.
Correct.
So it was already
It's
set.
already, it's
All right.
already scheduled.
Thank you.
For those of you who remember, we used to do 2 regular meetings before the business, but we're down to 1.
Okay. Any other comments?
So, yeah, just to clarify, it used to be we would start do the reorg at 7 and then the regular meeting at 7:30. So being that we start the regular meeting at 7, same thing, 7 and then 7:30,
No,
or
right
6:30
into
and
it.
7?
no, 7 and 7, and once we're done with the reorg,
Just go straight
we
Right
go
in.
right into the regular meeting rather than waiting. If you recall, the rationale that the board changed on that a few years ago was we'd get done at 7:10 and then everybody would be sitting around for, or 7:30, because we used to start them at 7 even, and we'd be sitting around till 7:30 waiting to start the meeting.
Okay.
So it's
As long as
just
we
a-
notice it immediately following.
Right.
As opposed to
Right,
7:30.
we'll end the
Okay.
one and we start the next.
Yeah, that's why it says immediately following. If the reorg takes 45 minutes, then it'll be 7:45.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to adopt that.
thank you.
schedule.
I'll second it.
Mr. Scobo seconded. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wagner.
Yes.
Mr. Peason.
Yes.
Mr. Scobo.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Radowitz.
Yes.
Committeeman Chicarelli.
Yes.
Mayor LaPani.
Yes.
Vice Chair Julian.
Yes.
Chair Sarachi.
Yes. Okay, next up is business from the floor for matters not on the agenda. I see there's 2 people in the audience. Don't come racing up, but I see no movement, so no business from the floor, so we'll move into tonight's public hearings. First up is 303 Amwell Road, JMJ4, Abil LLC, with file number 21-PV-17-SMPV, with a time of decision of December 31st of this year. And the applicant's requesting to be adjourned without further notice to a date to be determined by the board, per Mr. Ogrodnik's 10/16/23 letter.
Mr. Chairman, unless people have been living under a rock the last few weeks, you're all aware that there is a proposal to acquire the property by the township as to this application and an additional application, 1170 Millstone River Road. This application was scheduled to be heard tonight. I have no idea why applicants submitted a revised application a couple of weeks ago, but who's to stop them? We have also put Mr. Ogrodnik on notice. I think Mr. Coyce can confirm that from yesterday, that I put Mr. Ogrodnik on notice that if his client doesn't give us an extension past the end of the year, which is when he has the TOD for both applications, that I'm asking this to be placed back on the board agenda as well as 1170 for the December 14th meeting, because in the absence of a extension, the board will have to take an action regarding both applications, whether the proposed acquisition has gone through or not, for obvious reasons that we don't want an approval for a project that, even if it is ultimately going to produce an issue. So counsel for applicant has been put on notice for both. I would ask planning, Mr. Coyce, to have his office remind Mr. Ogrodnik's office that if we don't hear from them before Thanksgiving, we're going to put it on for the December 14th meeting, both of them. But he asked for the courtesy of not being here this evening, and he had somewhere else to be in light of. So you are merely going to, we are asking for a motion to continue this matter till at least December 14th, 2023. And we'll cross that bridge again when we get there. If we get an extension, I don't think we're going to get one next, unless we get one for next week. The board doesn't meet again until the 14th after next week's meeting. So I would ask for this matter to be carried. I would also ask the board, well, there's no need, I would ask the board to carry this matter until December 14th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Without further notice.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
You got two? We got one on each side. Make it bounce it out.
Okay. Any comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Peason?
Yes.
Mr. Scobah?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Radowitz?
Yes.
Mayor Lapani?
Yes.
Vice Chair Julian?
Yes.
Chair Sarachi?
Yes. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, before we get involved, I do need to recuse myself from the next application.
Okay.
So I take this moment to,
We will find the mayor
Find me
after.
later for the-
We'll find the mayor after this.
the
I have a
executive
matter,
session.
Mr. Chairman, in open, and then I have the executive session to give the board updates on ongoing litigation.
Okay. See you soon, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor has recused and left the dais.
Okay, next up is Cause LLC, Severino, file 23-PB-08-SV with time of decision of January 29th, 2024. It's Block 12, Lot 32.01, otherwise known as 55, or commonly known as 55 East Mountain Road, and also Lot 32.02, commonly known as 701 Mill Lane. The applicant's seeking a minor subdivision approval and C-bulk variance for lot line adjustment to reduce Lot 32.01 from 2.05 acres to 1 acre, and thereby increase Lot 32.02 to 4.8 acres. Proposed reconfigured lots will retain the existing improvements without changes on the property in the AG, otherwise known as Agricultural District Zone, and our residential zone. So, up, Mr. Singer, I will turn the floor to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. David Singer. David Singer.
Is the light on?
There you go.
All right. David Singer from the law firm of Porzio, Bromberg, and Newman. On behalf of applicants CAS LLC and the Severinos. We're here before the board tonight on behalf of the applicants to request the planning board approval pertaining to a lot line adjustment for properties located at 701 Mill Lane and 55 East Mountain Road in the ag zone and the residential zone in Hillsborough respectively. These properties are further identified as Block 12, lots 32.02 and 32.01 also respectively. With this application, we are not proposing any site improvements. The proposed lot line adjustment will reduce 55 East Mountain Road from its current acreage to 1 acre, and which still meets the minimum allowable lot area, and will be increasing 701 Mill Lane from its current 3.53 acres to about 4.58 acres, making the property more conforming to the minimum allowable lot area for that zone. There are 3 types of approvals that we are seeking tonight. The first group are pre-existing C variances that are not changing with this application. Should be noted there were prior variances granted at this property probably 23 years ago. 23 years ago. The second group, so we're asking for reaffirmation of those. The second group are pre-existing variances that are being improved with this application. And the third group are new variances requested with this application. Now, I will note one of the reasons why we were conferencing in the beginning was that we have come to an agreement that we are withdrawing one of the requested variances tonight, the impervious coverage. We will be, as a condition of approval, we'll make sure that impervious coverage is conforming to the ordinance. Tonight, you will hear testimony from applicant's licensed surveyor, Richard Rochalski, on behalf of the application. And we also have Mr. Al Severino on behalf of the property owners, who is available for any questions the board may have related to this lot line adjustment. At this time, I'd ask that we swear in Mr. Richard Rochalski.
I do. Richard Rochalski, last name Ruchalski.
What is your title with CPL Partnership LLC?
I'm a member of the firm as a professional land surveyor.
And what, I think you already answered it, but I'll ask you anyway, what licenses do you currently hold?
Same professional land surveyor for about 33 years.
I would ask the board to accept Mr. Rochalski as a licensed surveyor on behalf of this application.
Any objections? Head shake no's, we accept. Please continue.
Mr. Rochalski, you put the plans together, is that correct?
Correct.
If you could, can you please explain what we're doing with regard to this lot line adjustment?
Sure. I don't know if anyone can see from there. I think you all have little plans perhaps, but basically we're moving, here, can I get up on with this speaker here maybe? The old lot line was here between these two.
You might want to move it a little closer. No, not that, Mike. It's got to be on, it's got to be moved a little closer.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Coyce.
It's really just a lot line adjustment. The old line between the two lots was here. We're shifting it over here. And in essence, this winds up being 1 acre, and this lot, of course, gets the extra leftover footage, square footage.
Can you show, Mr. Bernstein, would you like us to mark this as applicant's exhibit 1?
A1. The author of that, just for the purpose of the record, the author of this document is whom, and when was it created?
That's for you to answer. You authored this.
I'm sorry?
When did you authored?
Can you repeat the question?
I know that feeling. Who's the author of what has been marked as A1, and what's the date on it?
Myself, Richard Rochalski. The last revision, actually today, 11/2/23. Just for a comment for the board engineer, there were comments made regarding whether the buildings on lot 3201 were actually existing, and a notation was made that they are existing. In addition, there was a note number 7 added, which just basically kind of outlines that and explains that.
Can you show the board where the variances and why they're needed on the plan?
Sure. So, as David explained, Mr. Singer explained earlier, there were several pre-existing variances granted about 23 years ago. I can go through each one. There's a bunch.
Well, why don't we start with minimum lot width for 3201?
Okay.
While the witness is looking at his notes, Mr. Coyce, has your office been provided this updated, this A1?
I have to check.
I can answer that. These were done in advance based upon the comments we received just the other day.
Okay.
So they were getting a little, but again, none of the lines have changed. We only added the notations requested in the engineering report.
Right, for the existing buildings. It's something very simple. So, right, nothing else had changed.
Mr. Singer, you're going to provide a copy of A1 to Mr. Coyce
We will.
for the records. Thank you.
So I could start with the lot width on we'll start with lot 3201. We have a lot width, requirement is 150. The existing condition granted in the previous approval was 19.53. That is not going to change, that will remain the same. Again, this is all lot 3201. If you go to the front setback, requirement is 50. Existing conditions are 5.66 and provided 5.66. Again, reiterating the old approval. Side yard setback, same lot, is 30, provided with the old approval, 13.90. And then you get to the impervious coverage on lot 3201. So what's asked for is 15. The existing condition was 8 because the old area was pushed out here. But now because we're moving the lot line back to be 1 acre, you wind up with 16.2. So that we're asking for a new variance for that item.
Well, we're actually, we're going to conform to the ordinance on the impervious coverage.
Not for 16, on lot 3201 we're on.
Right. We're going to,
Oh.
yes, we're going to
Okay.
conform to the impervious coverage ordinance.
All right, and as David reminded me, part of doing that, we'll figure out the area back in the office and we'll slide this line over to make it be in conformance with the 15%. Jumping to lot 3202, that zone requires a 10-acre lot. Previous approval was 3.53, and we, of course, we're providing more now because the lot is being shifted to the right, away from the house, so that there's no variance there. Going on to minimum lot depth, 400 feet is required. Previously approved was 346.08, and now this is part of what we're asking for, a lot depth variance for this. It's a little bit less because of the way the line slips over. It's like a foot difference, so that'll be a tad left, like a tad less, like a foot. Front yard setback, 150 required, previously approved was 75. Actually, what was built in the field is 113.01. I think that covers that part of it with the setbacks.
In terms of the engineering memo from Pannoni Associates dated October 26, 2023, it requests applicant will provide the meets and bounds descriptions. We will do that upon approval. They asked us to clarify, and that's also in the planning memo, whether it will be perfected by deed or plat. This will be perfected by deed. We discussed 3 and 4 in the general comments, 3 being the lot depth, and 4, we've discussed that we are no longer requesting that impervious coverage variance. 5, we discussed that everything is existing, no new improvements are proposed. We will comply with the county memo that was issued. And if the board requires the monuments, we will handle that as well. And planning memo, we again identified, the planning memo, there's no date, but it's October 2023. The comments were to identify the structures, identify if structures are existing, which we did, and that's it. The other one is saying there's no environmental constraints. That's more of a general comment than anything we need to address. Are there questions for Mr. Rochalski?
I mean, I just had one, just a clarification about meeting the impervious coverage for lot 3201. So to do that, we're going to adjust the line one more time?
Slightly.
Slightly. So there'll be another revision to A1.
Right.
There will be, yeah. And we'll work with Mark's office and making sure everything is what he wants.
Okay. So do we need copies of this version and then obviously the next version?
We'll provide A1 tonight, and then we'll provide any revisions that are requested tonight as well.
Obviously, Mr. Chair, before a resolution memorialization is adopted, this needs to be worked out.
Okay. Now, by doing that little shift, are we shifting any other, or impacting any of the setbacks then?
No.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Professionals, Ms. Mayhew.
I guess one, what's the purpose of moving this line at this point? Why are we here?
We
could.
we could swear Al Severino in if you want to address, but really it's we're trying to align, by moving it, we're actually becoming more conforming in terms of lot size. And it also, I think, prevents future development by actually making these moves. But if you would like to hear pretty much the same thing from my client, I'm more than happy to have him come up.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask if anyone else on the board has any questions of the surveyor, open it to the public, and I think based on Mr. Peason's request, I think the applicant should probably at that point be brought before the board to answer that question, since I'm assuming the surveyor is not the person to answer that.
But, Mr. Mayhew, you look like you were going to.
Mr. Chairman, I have no additional comments than what was in our review letter, and I'm comfortable with the applicant's suggestion to slightly move the lot line in order to be conforming for impervious cover.
Okay. Mr. Boyce?
I agree. Nothing further to add, thank you.
There you go, man, a few words. Okay, so may I have a motion to open to public, please?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Looks like we only have one public. If you want to answer or ask them any questions, you can come up. You don't have to.
Oh, no, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. I don't have to close it now, do I?
No.
No.
That's the,
Hmm?
move on to the
Move
next
on. Okay.
witness.
Next witness. You guys got to swap
Just-
seats. We don't have another
Yeah,
seat.
swear in Mr. Al Severino.
You swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And for the record, can you state and spell your name?
Yes. Alfred Severino, Severino.
So yes, Mr. Severino, thank you. I guess my question is why, what's the purpose of doing this now? And I know, the resolution back in 23 years ago, did whatever it did. Why now a change? And
We originally, I figured that was going to come up. I have no motive here. I'm not building anything, I'm not doing anything. I raised my 3 kids in that house on 32.01. I've been there since 1988, completely renovated. I had approval for this, what I'm asking for tonight, right before the other approval. My lawyer had gotten sick and never handed in all the paperwork like what we're saying we'll do. I had to come back to the board again, and at that time, while I was waiting for my reappointment, they changed to 10-acre zoning. So they said, look, just make that, one of the people said, make that 2 acres. The head of the board, who I knew, said, just take that. I'll make it so you can't ever, I'll make it so you can come back again and change it and start building your house. So that's why I did it. And the reason I do want to do it is not about the land. It's not about the extra land. It's about keeping it the way I want it. I own that house, and I'm the landlord of that house now. I'm very fussy about how the neighborhood looks and how that is kept up. I have control over it now as the landlord. I'm not going to be the landlord forever, but I plan on, God willing, staying in my new house next door for quite a while. Or maybe one of my kids here in town will take it over. What could happen on that property, since I've been here for a long time, that 32.01 is zone if it hasn't changed, into a home business, which I had a home business there. If you live there, one thing I don't want to see, if I sell it, and anything can happen, you lose control, is 19 dump trucks parked out, looking out of my living room window, and or a junkyard start there. Already my tenants collecting boats and everything in the yard. We had a discussion about that. They have to go. That's one thing. The other thing is, with the right, that's 2 acres. With the right political climate, the right lawyer, blah, 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 somebody could go back in front of the board and try to build another house there. I just want to keep the woods. I'm not out. I was a builder my whole life. I'm retired now. I like walking my dog around. I'm used to having that property. I taught my kids how to track and do stuff in the woods on that property. So it's kind of sentimental to me. I'm not building anything. I'm not selling it. It's not really going to raise the value of my house anymore. It'll decrease the value of the other one. It'll be a move. There's no financial motive whatsoever. And I understand your question, because why the hell is he doing this? Because it's costing me a lot of money to be here tonight. That's why I want to do it. And I saw across the street, I know a little 3-acre lot there was granted by the board. We got 3 lots out of that. I know there's a lot of non-conforming issues, which I don't care about. I didn't contest it. But I don't want that to happen on this property. So that house, if a tornado knocked it over, being it's close to the road, which has been for 250 years, they could move it and you would conform on at least 3 of the sides for setback if it was completely demolished. That was one of the reasons that somebody on the board 20-some years ago said, well, if a tornado hits it, then you could move it over, so make it bigger. But you didn't need to make it that much bigger. So that's my reason. I hope I didn't go crazy here, but
No, thank you.
I hope I answered your question okay.
That explains a lot. It also explains, I see I guess, sort of a connector, I don't know, path road, and a Google aerial shows, that there's a connection between the two in a way, which, so,
Yeah.
those are both your lots.
I have the sewer, plus they can't really do it. I have the sewer line going through there, which I have, if you see on that little map, I gave an easement to myself, from myself to me and my wife, to put the sewer line through, which was actually suggested by Hillsborough Utilities Authority. It's actually more, better for the environment than having the septic system. So we did that. And this way, nobody can, if somebody were to try to move or build something there, they would have to set me up with a pump system. It would be, I don't want to avoid all that court stuff and have that a problem down the road. Right now, it's deeded for that, and if they did move that house with a tornado, they would not encroach on the sewer line, since it's in the back of the property, close to 53 East Mountain Road. Plus, I'm not hurting anything, because I'm more conforming than anybody around me, really. If you look at, I don't know if you can see on your tiny maps, but there's 5 non-conforming half-acre lots, 0.58 acre lot in the area. And in the ag zone part of that map, there's 14 non-conforming. So I'm actually having a conforming lot.
Right
I
up
can't
on your
help.
line. Yeah.
I can't help that the pioneers built the house 5 feet off the road.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions for this witness?
Any board members? Ms. Mayhew? Ms. Coyce?
No questions.
Okay. Public, would you like to ask him a question?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. So I may have a motion to close the public.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
At this time, based upon the testimony you've heard tonight regarding this lot line adjustment, we ask that the board approve the project as submitted to the planning board with the conditions discussed tonight.
Mr. Bernstein, anything to add before? Okay, so may I have a motion to
I'll make that
approve with the
motion.
conditions we've discussed?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any final comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Peason?
Yes.
Mr. Scobo?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Radowitz?
Yes.
Committeeman Chicarelli?
Yes.
Vice Chair Julian?
Yes.
Chair Sirachi?
Yes.
Thank you, members of the board. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Okay. So, okay. Next up, we have an executive session. No?
Mr. Chairman,
What did I do?
give me 2 seconds to get the mayor back. I have a non-executive session item before we get to the executive, so if you'll give me.
So we will take then a 5-minute recess. No, we don't need to take a recess? So we could just talk about it right now? Okay.
It's not on my agenda. Sorry.
No, we're not recessing.
Okay.
Not recessing, so the mics are hot, so be careful. Right.
Thanks, Mr. Severino.
Huh? Wait a second.
What his interest is?
Yeah. Member of the public. Hey, do you have a form for us to sign?
No.
Oh,
I'm
you-
just here for a class. I have to take notes.
Okay.
Is that the last applicant, I'm guessing, right?
That's the last one. We're waiting to get the mayor back, and then we're going to be going into a executive or closed session. Then we'll come back out. We might take an action.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Are you?
I'm back here, right?
I tell you, some of these kids, they come to the ones that are,
Mr. Chairman, let the record reflect that the mayor has returned. I'm going to
back, Mr.
ask
Mayor.
Mr. Coyce to assist me in handing something out, since I know he likes to get up and move around and.
Killing more trees, not very sustainable.
I didn't get one. I have, there we go.
A little explanation as to this, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. It sort of comes from two parts. It came to my attention about 10 days ago that a study was done by the County of Middlesex relative to transportation related to warehousing in the southern end of Middlesex, of which I passed a copy of that along to the mayor and township committeeman and to, I believe, the chair and to Mr. Coyce, et cetera, which I think started prompting whether or not we could get the county to move the same kind of process along for this part of the county. I happened to be at the Franklin Township Planning Board meeting last night for them to deny another warehouse application that I was involved in. And Bob Thomas, who also happens to be the zoning board chair, mentioned to me that they had made a similar request. They had become aware of the study as well, and they had made a similar request to the county, at which time the county apparently told them that if you want us to do something, you need to make a request. So last night at the planning board meeting, after I left, apparently the board passed the resolution that's mentioned here, apparently looking at both Hillsborough, Manville, and Franklin. I wasn't even aware of this article. My wife brought it to my attention this morning, so I'm bringing it to all of your attentions. I've made the mayor aware. I didn't even make David aware because I didn't have it. I think the planning board ought to give the same kind of consideration for a similar request that Franklin did. And what I told Sean was I would ask Christine Waterbury over at Franklin for a copy of the resolution. And if there is a desire, we might be able to get it on for next week, if not for December. But I think it's definitely another item that we, since all warehousing is going to Manville anyway. So that's the open to the public portion item to make you all aware and to indicate that if the board does not object, that we will try to draft up something to get for board consideration either next week or in December. Hearing none unless.
I think it's a good idea.
Do you just kind of need just random head shakes, or do we need?
I don't hear anybody objectively screaming no, so I will take that as an affirmative.
I would request on the record that you draft such a resolution to give us.
I would second what the mayor, you needed a second, but I will do.
All in favor of my office moving forward on this matter signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. At this point, Mr. Chairman, I have asked for an executive session to discuss the ongoing litigation that the board currently is dealing with. It has been noticed, correct, Mr. Coyce?
Correct.
Thank you. It's a tag team for those of you, the routine. I motion to go into executive session, Mr. Chairman, to discuss the following litigation and attorney-client privilege. The litigation is Harvard Way JMJ4 LLC, M&M Realty, Homestead Road, and Hillsborough RB LLC 1 and Hillsborough RB LLC 2, as well as some additional attorney-client privilege matters. I don't believe there will be action taken at the end of this, and we will come out of this executive session to adjourn once we are completed. Unless the board has any desire to go sit in the back room, I think we can probably do it here.
Okay. Do we have to do a resolution? Because
We will, I thought I had
to go into
drafted
executive
one,
session,
but
I mean,
motion will suffice. I will do the
Okay.
resolution. I thought we had done one. You might want to check with my assistant,
Okay.
Deborah.
Will do.
okay. So,
And I would ask Mr. Coyce and Mr. Mayu to remain.
Michael gets to rest.
If Michael wants to stay until we come back, otherwise, it's up to Michael.
But his hands must be recluse
Well,
from the keyboard.
what? We'll ask the cameraman to at least come back, not,
But, so I need to make a motion to go into executive session?
yes.
Motion to go to executive?
For the reasons I stated
Right.
pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12, B7 and B7.
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay. All in favor? Or no, we got to do roll call. Well, I don't know.
All in
It's been a
favor.
few years
All in
since.
favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let the record reflect that all members of the Planning Board of the Township of Hillsborough are present at the commencement of the executive session, are present at the recommencement of the open session, as well as Board Attorney, Township and Board Planning Director, Board Engineer. The Board Attorney gave a lengthy discussion of the ongoing litigation involving the Planning Board, both as it relates to warehousing and affordable housing. Answered questions were applicable. No formal action needs to be taken. I will continue to keep, the Board Attorney will continue to keep the board apprised, which may require one or more additional executive sessions, which the board is authorized to call for pursuant to our initial calling of meetings. With that, Mr. Chairman, the appropriate motion is a motion to adjourn.
Okay, may I have a motion of adjournment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
9:08.